Hey classes, this is Mrs. Rouse, of course. Who else would it be? And we're going to get started with our first video today, which is kind of a fun video. So I hope you're ready to just kind of enjoy this. It's something a little bit different. So artists like to think about things and be conceptual and just kind of do things in new and original ways. And this is all part of that process. So today's first video is on the emotional use of line, and that you can express yourself just through the lines that you use. So these are the materials you need today. You have your ebony pencil, which remember it has that nice heavy lead in it, which is dark and very expressive. You have a worksheet. This is in your packet, but I've attached it to the bulletin board page. If you don't have it, it says Lines and Emotions at the very top. And then you have just a pencil sharpener, eraser, and then I have a piece of this small newsprint from the packet. If you don't have this newsprint, a piece of copy paper would be fine to use. That paper doesn't really matter. So the first thing we're doing today, we don't need the worksheet first, is something on this paper. This is going to be a really different drawing. I'm going to tell you a story, and while I'm telling you this story, you're going to draw a line. What? I can't do that, Mrs. Ross. Yes, you can. My one requirement, or one of my requirements, is your line can't look like anything representational. So what you cannot do, if I was talking and I said, once upon a time, there was a pretty, pretty princess, and you went, and she fell in love with handsome prince, and then we're not doing lines that look like something. This is going to be non-objective, so no pictures of things, right? So as I tell the story, your pencil can wander around and do whatever it wants to do while I'm telling the story. No, that's too weird, Mrs. Ross. We can do this. I'm only going to tell the story once. It's going to last maybe 2 minutes. So as the story starts, you just have to start drawing a line. Can I pick up my pencil? Yes. Can I draw a line to go up and down? Yes. Can I draw lines? Yes. You can draw any kinds of lines that you want. I'd like you to think about using the one piece of paper. Like I said, the story is only a couple of minutes long. There's your paper. I'm not going to tell you where to start or how to start or what kinds of lines to draw. Only that as you draw, your line may change as something happens in this story. But you're not drawing no pictures of things, just drawing lines. Okay? So if you are not ready to start that, stop the video and replay what I just said. Because some people, I got this, Mrs. Rouse, I can do it. And some of my students like, no, Mrs. Rouse, this is too weird for me. So I'll show you some examples after, because if I show you examples beforehand, then you'll think there's a right or a wrong way to do this. There is no right or wrong way. You just kind of let your pencil wander, and as things change in the story, maybe your pencil changes what it's doing. So I'm putting my pencil down because I get to tell the story. But while I'm talking, you will start a line, and the line will start to do things as the story goes on. So here we go. Put your pencil down and start. Once upon a time, okay, you're drawing your line. Once upon a time, there was a little mouse. And the little mouse lived in a little wall inside a cute little house. The mouse was sleeping. That's what mice really do. It's sleeping. And all of a sudden, an alarm goes off. And the mouse jumps up out of its little bed. And the mouse stretches and it says, ooh, I'm feeling hungry. So the mouse hops out of its bed and it peeks out into the room. It's a hole in the wall of a house, right? It peeks to the left, it peeks to the right. It doesn't see anything. There it is, a piece of cheese. So the mouse starts to tiptoe towards the piece of cheese. Hop, hop, tiptoe, tiptoe, hop, hop. Oh, sorry, there's a cat! Ah! And the mouse starts running. It hops up to the left. It jumps up to the right. It goes over the couch. It goes under the rug. It hops all over the blinds. It goes underneath the chair. It goes around and around the table. And then it runs into the kitchen. It slides across the floor and goes bang into a cupboard. But the cat's still coming. So it hops up on the cupboard and it's running across the counter and it's real slippery. And it goes bang into the refrigerator. It hops on the fridge. It jumps on top of the cupboards. But the cat's still coming. So it sees the back doors open, and it runs out the back door, bump, 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 down the steps into the backyard. The cat's still coming! So it runs across the backyard, it runs to a tree. It goes around the tree, the cat's chasing it. It goes around the tree again around the tree. And then it sees the back gates open. So it runs out the back gate, and it hops into its little sports car. Lots of power there for a mouse. So it drives down the alleyway as fast as it can go, and the cat's still chasing him. It drives out into a street, and then it drives out another turn to a bigger street, and then it turns right to a bigger street, and it turns left to a highway, and it goes out to the desert, and it's going faster and faster and faster, and he's so scared, and he doesn't even see a sign that says warning, warning, and he keeps going, and all of a sudden, he flies right off a cliff. And that's the end of the story. Okay, let's take a look at the drawing you just drew. Probably there's lines that are maybe lighter and lines that are maybe darker, lines that might be more angular or bumpy or something. I have some, remember there's not a right or wrong way to do this. I have some samples from students in the past. Here's two very different samples. This one probably reads back and forth like a story, and you can see where some things have happened. This one kind of reads like a story as well, and you can see some different things that are happened. Actually, maybe they go like this. I don't really know. See, they're both correct. They're both okay, and there's also other ways of doing this project. We're not going to do it again, but what I want to point out is that a lot of things have changed. You haven't drawn anything, but you see all kinds of different uses of line, heavier, lighter, curvaceous, just all kinds of different uses of line. And this is the power of the difference in the lines is something that you can put into a drawing. So a drawing doesn't have to be, you know, every line is exactly the same way on this pretty, pretty flower, exactly the same. Maybe I have lines that are thicker and thinner and more graceful or do different types of things. So you can see the different types of lines I'm putting in here. Some are dark, some are really light maybe. You know, and that's how you can get a little bit of power into your drawing by changing up the types of lines that you do. I changed a lot of lines in this drawing of the flower. See how I changed it? So we want to maybe start including that in some of the things we're going to do. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to get the worksheet out. And in this worksheet, I have some suggested emotions and lines. And hey, if you put your name here, it'd be really nice because then I always know you're the one who did it. So that remember I asked you to always have them on your papers. Anyway, on this worksheet, I just want you to draw a line next to the adjective that might describe that adjective, but don't draw any pictures. So maybe anxious looks like this and calm looks like that. You know, it's just a line that kind of is shows what those emotions might be. And down here at the bottom, I'm just going to have you make up one of your own. You could be the opposite of something, or how you feel today, or what you thought about Mrs. Rouse when she made you do that. It's just a simple worksheet, not because there's a right or a wrong way. Here's what somebody did. You can see the lines are all really different. So that person really, here's somebody who's more kind of really specific about, this is really subtle, but there's a lot of changes in their lines. So however you want to draw your lines for these different emotions, that's up to you. And then what you're going to do is you're just going to take these two things side by side, take a photo, and that's going to be your first assignment that's due today. Okay, and so this should maybe take you 5 minutes. And then after that, you're going to do the second video and start your second assignment for today. That one will take you a little bit longer.